Changing colors on your Mercedes. So once in a while, cars will come up on the market that are decent cars, or so they seem to be decent cars, but they've had a color change. And so we're going to talk about two things in this video: what to do if you're interested in buying a Mercedes with the color change, and if you're restoring your Mercedes, is it okay to change the color? So without further ado, color changed cars purchasing. I think that if you buy a color changed car, you need to buy it at an appropriate discount, but you also need to take into consideration the overall condition of the car besides the paint. I treat a color changed car like a car that needs a paint job, but then again, it depends on how nice the car is and whether it actually needs a paint job or not. If you're looking at a color changed Mercedes and it's an unusual model like a 300 CD or a 300 TD or a 300 SL or a 280 SL or something like that, and there aren't a ton of really good original cars available on the market. When I say original, I mean no rust ever, no accidents ever, original interiors, uncracked dash, original carpets, no awful restoration work. Then I think it's okay. I think it's always smart to buy a car that meets all of the criteria, even if the color has been altered. But I think if you're looking at a Mercedes and it's had a color change plus a lot of shoddy restoration work, like cheap aftermarket carpets, awful aftermarket seat covers, a dash cap, chrome wheels, particularly if it's a 107, because there's so many good ones out there, I think that buying a color changed car can also be a really bad idea. So the color change essentially needs to be the only major difficult thing to repair that's wrong with the car. Fair enough. And next, there's been some questions in the past about should I change my color or not. Now, some people are so entitled, they think that if they do all the work to take a car apart, that they should be able to change its color. They think, oh, I've done all the rust repair, I've done all the chrome, I've done all the wood, I should change the color to something I like more. And that's sort of a selfish, egocentric philosophy. I think that the car deserves to be what it is. The color change, the color that a Mercedes Benz is born with is part of its innate character. And I don't know, it's sort of like changing a person's skin color or changing their hair color or changing their height. These sorts of things apply to Mercedes too, because the cars are some of the only cars you can really get besides like Alfa Romeos or Lancias or Ferraris that have soul. When you make the soul argument, it's hard to argue that 2 million Mustangs had the same amount of soul as like a 280 SE sedan. And so as a result of this, I think that the color code on the car's data card is sacred. Yes, it is sacred. It is an inalterable property. So in the Mercedes universe, you've committed some sort of selfish, horrible sin if you've changed the color. Now, some people seem to think that changing the color is okay to suit themselves. Well, I think we have to agree to disagree sometimes, but I try to talk people out of doing this, because the other thing it does is it hurts the car's resale value. Now, some people argue that it doesn't hurt the car's resale value, but dollar for dollar in the market, statistically, it absolutely hurts the car's resale value, especially in the time of internet transparency, where people can talk about cars and bring a trailer on forums, or somebody across the country can call somebody else across the country who knows the car. I find, though, that color changes often go hand in hand with other stupid decisions, like changing the car's carpet type or changing its wheels or having everything chromed in the engine bay. I mean, there are all sorts of Often shops that are willing to perform these color changes are second-rate shops. You heard me. If you're working in a garage and you're willing to do anything to make a buck, you're not a true car enthusiast. You're just a business person. I'm sure that I could pay you to do other things too, like, you know, I don't know, graft a Ford Econoline pickup and I set a bubble car together and all sorts of stupid projects. So if you're a shop owner and you're considering doing color changes, then you know, and you're willing to do that for people, you're actually not being true to the cars you're restoring. Go work on some new cars. You know, that's all I have to say. Anyway, some of you may not like the content in this video. That's okay. You can comment below and tell me why. And in the meantime, if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up and put people in their place who think I'm wrong in the comments below. I'm just kidding. Keep everything nice according to YouTube's guidelines for correct and polite posting. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to this channel. And thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. And if you have a color changed Mercedes and you didn't do it, don't worry, I'm not singling you out. It's just, you know, this is the way I feel about color changes. Often the cars that have them are inferior cars. In fact, on a fit note, I could think of one car that had a color change. Two cars that had color changes that I really think are good cars. My friend Jay's 280 SL and my friend Bill's 300 CD. And neither of the people who own these cars now did the color changes. But those are the only two color changed cars I've ever highly recommended anybody, because I felt that the categories that they excelled in far outweighed the categories that they faltered in, which was essentially one, the color. All right, enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz. Do everything you can to preserve it. If you're restoring it, stick with the color tag on the radiator shell, 3 numbers, G or an H. Sayonara.